எனக்கு ஒரு ரெஸ்பெக்ட் அவ்வளோதான். உங்களோட ஒப்பீனியன்
சோஷியல் மீடியாலாம் மரியாதை கிடையாது.
ஆமாம். ஸோ இந்த இப்போ நீங்க சர்டன் ஒப்பீனியன்ஸ் நீங்க எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் பண்ணீங்க சரிங்களா. the thing is that இப்போ ஜென்ரலி I'm a person who respects everybody's opinions. எனக்கு ஒரு certain, for example, let's say I'm disagreeing with you. I'm going to say that I disagree with your thoughts, but not entirely.
I mean, that's how people grow, right? When disagreements irukirukadha, you will get to understand other person's perspective. You can take it or leave it.
Yes.
Like, இப்போ நான் ஒரு விஷயம் வந்து டீப்பா நம்பிட்டு இருக்கேன், நீங்க ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்றீங்க. If what you are saying is morally right, I should be able to take it. இங்க நான் ஈகோ பார்த்து நான் தான் கரெக்ட் அப்படிதான் I will never be able to grow.
Very true, very true. See, that's the thing. There's always a difference between heated arguments and healthy debates. But the thing is that right now when you say these things, I know that, in my mind, okay, there are certain psychological factors that we can actually talk about regarding this, but it does not mean that I cannot have a proper debate with you. Okay, I don't have to nammaloda the bhashana solla poda thinchify an ideology. I believe that certain ideologies are being thinchified on people.
So you don't have to try to உங்க மைண்ட் செட் இதான் எல்லாமே ஃபாலோ பண்ணுவோம். Even that is a form of ego. Like நான் சொல்றேன் கரெக்ட், எல்லாரும் நான் சொல்றத ஃபாலோ பண்ணுவாங்க. See, if you have something to express, you can express it. People can take it or leave it. சில பேர் they'll be like, okay, he's right. சில பேர் they'll be like, யார் இவன் இப்படி பேசிட்டு இருக்கான். அவ்வளவுதான். That's people's way of taking it. நம்ம ஒரு விஷயம் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா அதை அவன் எடுத்துக்கிறதா அவன் கையில் இருக்கு. We can't expect everyone to agree with us. We can't expect debate from everyone who wants to disagree with us.
True.
சில பேர் கேட்டு கூட வந்து சரி ஏதோ சொல்றான்னு சொல்லிட்டு போயிடுவாங்க. That is actually even better if you ask me.
Actually, that is the thing. See, if people are disagreeing with an opinion, சரிங்களா, generally what happens is what I have seen is that ஒரு இடத்துல ஒரு ஒப்பீனியன் டிஸ்அக்ரி ஆனாங்கன்னா அந்த இடத்துல வந்து அவங்களோட ஒப்பீனியன் அவங்க சொல்லியே ஆகணும்னு இருப்பாங்க. நான் டிஸ்அக்ரி பண்ணி எப்படி ப்ரோ இதை சொல்ல முடியும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஏன் அப்படி? இப்போ நீங்க சொன்னீங்க பாத்தீங்களா, இது ஏதோ சொல்லிட்டு போறான் சொல்லிட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு they will have their opinions to themselves. But in a certain place and situation, எதுக்காக அந்த ஒப்பீனியன் எடுத்து வைக்கிறாங்கிறதுக்கு ஸ்பேஸே அவங்க விட மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
See, if that opinion is really harmful, நிறைய பேரை தப்பா இம்பாக்ட் பண்ணுதுன்னா, there is no problem with debating. Even if it's heated, let's say it's healthy.
True.
ஓகேங்களா? ஆனா வந்து எப்படின்னா, your opinion say you like apples, you like oranges. I like apple, you like oranges. If I try to force feed you an apple, say you want to like it, maybe you will say that ஒன்னு வந்து I don't want it, I don't want to try it. That is very respectful.
Very true.
Another thing is, இப்போ 100 பேருக்கும் வந்து ஆரஞ்சு சாப்பிடாதீங்க, ஆப்பிள் தான் சாப்பிடுங்க தெரிஞ்சா, that if you come and argue that orange is also fine, அப்படின்னா that is something which is very appreciated.
Yeah, that's what. See, that openness to thinking and openness to having debates, openness to having a conversation itself has diminished. Because everybody is coming to that point where their point should be on top. If their point is not being heard or validated, even if you are giving the space to listen to it, they are like, how can you say something like that?
See, people are living in a very safe environment. Okay, ஒரு வருஷம் தப்பா சொன்னா கூட யாரும் இந்த கேள்வி கேட்க போறாங்க. People are just going to, they're not going to mind அப்படிங்கிற மைண்ட் செட் இருக்கவங்களுக்கு they have never been into any major conflicts. அவங்களுக்கு கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட்னு ஒரு விஷயமே வந்து அவங்க ட்ரிகரிங்காக இருக்கலாம், புதுசாக இருக்கலாம். ஸோ என் கூட வந்து இவ்வளோ பேர் டிஸ்அக்ரி பண்ணதே இல்லை, டிஸ்அக்ரி பண்ணாமல் சைலண்டாக போயிட்டான், இவன் யாரும் புதுசாக ஆரம்பிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. இது எப்படி நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி தான், the world has become a very safe space, at the same time it's also very dangerous. If you are able to see in between, ஒரு பக்கம் சேஃபாக இருக்கு, ஒரு பக்கம் டேஞ்சரும் இருக்குது அப்படின்ற விஷயம் நீங்கள் பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, you will be able to judge, like நான் எங்கே வந்து ஓப்பனாக இருக்கலாம், எங்கே நான் வந்து சைலண்டாக போகலாம் அப்படிங்கிற விஷயம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும்.
I understand. See, that is one of the main things that I love about your ideology is if you have a certain path, you are sticking to that path. Not only with that, just because you are walking through that path does not mean that you are not looking at other paths. You are looking at other paths also, assessing it and seeing if it is comfortable for you. I think every human being is entitled to that. You cannot go on to another human being and tell that, don't look at that path. They all have the choice to do it. The illusion of free will, obviously. But அந்த ஒரு இடத்துல கூட அப்படியே பிடிச்சிட்டு இல்லை நீ இதுதான் பார்க்கணும்னா that is I think அந்த அளவுக்கு force is not required.
See, even if you disagree with someone, even if they are taking the wrong advice, which I do, both the upper advice சொன்னா I try to break it down and make people see the reality. I don't tell them to exactly நான் சொன்னா கரெக்ட் நீ ஃபாலோ பண்ண சொல்ல மாட்டேன். Take your own decision. இவன் என்ன விஷயம் தப்பா பண்ணா சொல்றான், உங்களுக்கும் அது தப்புன்னு பட்டுச்சுன்னா take a decision. I'm not saying to agree with me completely or disagree with him completely. அது ஒரு விஷயம் இருக்கு. And the other thing is, social media ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் இந்த விஷயம்லாம் வந்து ஆச்சு. பிகாஸ் நம்ம நேர்ல ஒருத்தங்கிட்ட போய் see the most people you see on social media they won't be the same in person.
Very true.
That's
This
the thing.
I do.
Because they are living behind ஒரு ஸ்க்ரீன் பின்னாடி என்னென்ன டைப் பண்ணலாம் ஃபோன்ஸ் நேம் என்னென்ன டைப் பண்ணலாம் they are going to have any consequences.
True.
அப்படியே consequences தான் என்ன அவங்க யாரோ ஒருத்தர் கமெண்ட் போடலாம் கமெண்ட் டைப் பண்ணி ஈஸியாக போயிடலாம்.
I understand.
When you come down to the real world and actually have a conversation with someone who's disagreeing with you, it's completely different. So most people they are not been into such type of disagreements or conflicts.
Very true. Very
So
true.
when you step out of social media, நிஜ வாழ்க்கைக்குள்ள வாங்க நிஜ வாழ்க்கைக்குள்ள என்னென்ன கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் இருக்கா அதை பாருங்க. When you have enough guts to actually confront someone, I'd rather appreciate that.
That's what I think. I very much agree with the fact that we are living in a very safe space right now to actually sit and have arguments that matter. And you have very rightfully mentioned certain ideologies. For example, feminism. For example, about telling the person who is fat. Not a lot of people are able to completely agree with it. But not a lot of people are also taking the time to actually question why are you saying something like that. So my question to you is, what is your ideology regarding such mental constructs? Because to me, all these are constructs. People want to be in that construct because they feel comfortable in that construct. And obviously, there has been this, certain pathway of life where, the feminine gender has been oppressed.
Of course it has. Like,
Yes.
oppressingகிறத தாண்டி they have to be given rights in a way that which benefits women. Women வந்து benefits கண்டிப்பா கொடுத்தாங்க. And men should have their own benefits in the way that men எங்க oppress ஆகுறாங்க. அதுக்கு அவங்களுக்கு benefits கொடுக்கணும். See நீங்க சொல்றது பாத்தீங்கன்னா ideologically it's right, but practically cannot be done. Say for example, இப்போ you have an opinion on how many feminists you know that are actually happy. How many of them?
Okay.
Because say okay ஒரு வித்து டேமேஜ் ஆயிட்டாங்க, they've been oppressed by men or something has happened to them, they come into ideology that I don't need any men. Women are superior. Say okay, let it be fine. Women are superior in their own way, men are superior in their own way. Men have their drawbacks, women have their drawbacks. இங்க எப்படின்னா ரெண்டு ஜெண்டர் நீங்க வந்து தனித்தனியாக பிரிச்சு பார்த்து this is superior, this is superior. How has it always been? Men எங்க லாக் பண்றாங்களோ women come and try to fix that. Women எங்க லாக் பண்றாங்களோ men try to come in and fix that.
That's the divine alchemy. That's the divine alchemy.
You don't have to like be equal. You both are opposites. Men and women are opposites. Try to embrace that. I think a lot of conflicts will be solved. The other thing about fat people is, okay, இப்போ ஒருத்தர் ஃபேட்டாக இருக்கான், அது வந்து ஏதாவது போஸ்ட் போடுறாங்கன்னா so many people are coming and appreciating, commenting. அந்த அப்ரிஷியேட் பண்ண அதே people கிட்ட போய் கேட்டு பாருங்க, do you want to wake up like the same person, like the same person you appreciating?
That's a very tough question to even,
அவ்வளோதான் சிம்பிள் தான். இந்த சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் வர அந்த சிம்பத்தி இது எல்லாமே நீங்கள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they will give you a lot of sympathy, or encouragement கொடுப்பாங்க. But they won't do anything if something happens to you.
Okay. Okay, so here let me say that these topics have given me certain questions. Okay. So இப்போ வந்து இதே மாதிரி ஒரு பர்சனோட போஸ்ட்ல எஸ் யூ டூ சி encouragement based comments and motivative comments and people say that keep going, supportive comments overall. So what if at that point, at that moment, that person who saw those posts, okay, they would have been in a very low point in their life, and that post would have been something that had given them a booster, right?
Given them a boost to do what? To stay in their comfort zone or get out of their comfort zone?
Let's say if it helps them get out of their comfort zone.
Oh, okay, then it's fine. Okay. ஆனா வந்து இது எப்படின்னா telling a fat person to stay fat, to be fat, to be themselves, it's a crime. Because இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக டாக்டருக்கு நான் பேசப்போ she told me being fat is a sin. Fat acceptance is a crime. Simple now. I mean, no one has to agree on all this, but
no, it's not about agreeing. See, that is the thing. I am not here to sit and say that I agree with what you're saying. I am here also to say that we can disagree on things. And when such disagreements happen, I want it to be a place where we can raise questions in a healthy way. Because you have been trying to address a sensitive issue in your own raw way. And I am able to see that. I want people to see that. I don't find the way you're approaching things wrong. Do you get it? People who find it wrong are basically people who have fluctuating ideologies themselves. Because the thing is that you are telling something that is hardened and starbound fact that fat acceptance is wrong. It is wrong. There are so many people who are going through the process. There are so many people who are trying to do the process. There are so many people who just avoid the process
When you say trying to do the process, if you bully a person who's fat and he's trying to lose weight, he's not going to be offended because he knows he's putting in the work. He knows he's not going to be fat on 6 or 8 months.
Very true.
So அவனை bully பண்றது எல்லாமே motivation.
He's
going to take it as fury. He's going to do things right. Maybe he might feel down for a moment. But இப்போ நம்ம encouragement விட சொல்ல போனா praise நம்மளுக்கு வர what do you call it? ஒரு gratitude, what do you call it, man?
Praise
வர நமக்கு அந்த ஃபீலிங் வருமே, என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, ஒரு பூஸ்ட்
motivation boost. Okay, hype, the quality of hype.
நமக்கு அந்த பிரைஸ் வர பூஸ்டோட நமக்கு யாராவது நெகட்டிவா ஏதாவது சொன்னாங்கன்னா அதுவே வர பூஸ்ட் நமக்கு இன்னும் அதிகமா இருக்கும்.
Negative.
If someone tells you that you are doing something good, you will be like, okay, fine. Maybe you will feel like, I know I can do better, thank you.
Okay.
But if someone tells you you can't do something, there might be people who think, okay, maybe I can't do it. And there might be other people, இவனே பண்ணிட்டான் நானே பண்ண முடியாது. That is not coming from a place of ego.
Yeah, true.
That is coming from a place of confidence.
Yeah.
See, for the comparison பார்க்குறீங்க, most people you see on social media, maybe even fitness influencers. This is my full-time job, I can do this. இப்போ normal person இருக்கான், say for example he is working in IT, maybe he can or he cannot. Everyone can, but does he have enough time? Does he have enough everything to put into this?
Very true.
ஓகேங்களா, அது ஒன்று. இங்கே என்ன பிரச்சனை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கம்பேரிசன். ஒரு ஆன்லைனில் பார்க்கலாம், நீ என்ன மாதிரி ஆகலாம், என்ன மாதிரி இருக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிற சோஷியல் மீடியா இன்ஃப்ளூயன்சஸ் பண்ணுறது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒரு தப்பான விஷயம். செகண்ட் திங், when a normal man sees all this, he can get inspired to become like that. இவனே பண்ணிட்டா நான் பண்ண முடியாது, நல்ல விஷயம், get inspired, but don't feel like he is better than me. இவன் பண்ணிட்டான், he is living a different life அப்படிங்கிற பார்த்து don't feel insecure of yourself.
True. So basically everything comes down to one huge, bracket called insecurity, right? So when it comes to these things, to me, when I see, even the thing is that I have come across posts like this, like, if you want to get packs like me, do these workouts. If you want to get packs like, hamstrings like me or quads like me, do this workout. What do you think is your opinion of those kind of
marketing things? Like, if you want to get abs like me, your genetics is different, your methodology, ideas, everything might be different. But how I got my abs in advertisement, I don't see a problem with it. நான் ஆப் ஒர்க் இப்படி தான் பண்ணுறேன், நான் கார்ட் ஒர்க் இப்படி தான் பண்ணுறேன், இதை ட்ரை பண்ணி பாருங்க உங்களுக்கு எப்படி இருக்குன்னு சொல்லுங்கள். Because I do all these things.
True.
I don't try to tell people இதை பண்ணால் என்ன மாதிரி மசல் போடணும்,
இதை பண்ணால் என்ன மாதிரி பைசெப்ஸ் வரும்.
I'm not going to say all that. I'm not going to promote products saying that இதெல்லாம் எடுத்தால் நீங்கள் என்ன மாதிரி ஆகிறீங்க. I'm not going to do all that. But when you see all these false marketing, which draws you more? இப்போ நல்ல ஃபிசிக் இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து என்ன மாதிரி ஆகலாம் சொன்னால் அதிகமாக ட்ரா ஆவீங்களா, இல்லை ஒருத்தன் வந்து இதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க, நீங்க வந்து உங்களோட பெஸ்ட் வெர்ஷன் அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு வரீங்களா, you'll be drawn more to the guy who tells you that you will become like him. So இங்கே ஒரு false marketing தான் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு.
Yes. Why is the psychology going towards that? See, what you have taken up in this fitness, as a psychologist, what you have taken in this fitness, according to me, is one of the most rawest roots. Because you are taking workshops and classes that just does not talk about bodybuilding. We are talking about bodybuilding, marketing in bodybuilding as a sport, bodybuilding as a career. You are talking about the cycles that the bodybuilder has to go through, what kind of cycles that they can approach, their post-cycle therapy and everything in a certain workshop. How are you sure that, this is going to invoke a change on a bigger scale?
See, most people எங்கிட்ட வந்து படிக்கிறவங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, they are from ஒரு ரூரல் பேக்ரவுண்ட் படிக்கிறவங்களா இருக்காங்க, இல்லை வந்து கோச்சஸ்னால மிஸ்ட்ரீட் பண்ணவங்க, ஹெல்த் இஷ்யூஸ் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணவங்க, அவங்க தான் நிறைய பேர் வந்து படிக்கிறாங்க. அண்ட் பாடிபில்டிங் ஃபீல்டு விட்டு வெளியே கூட you'll be surprised by how many people are interested in bodybuilding. ஆட்டோ ஓட்டுறவங்க, பால் பேக்கெட் போடுறவங்க, இவங்களாம் வந்து எங்கிட்ட படிக்கிறாங்க. When they come and spend their time travel பண்ணி வந்து ரெண்டு நாள் வந்து படிக்கிறாங்க அப்படின்றப்போ, I have a responsibility to fulfill. வராங்க அப்படின்னா 2 நாள் you can't make them an expert, but you can make them aware to certain concepts. You can make them aware to certain things, what not to do. இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் சொல்லி, you have to not promote or not glorify bodybuilding to someone who doesn't have the revenue source to do it. Because you're investing your time, you're investing your money, you're investing your health, எல்லாமே இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி கூட the returns are zero. So the cost வேணும்னா first you have to teach them what are all the ways to earn. I'm not sitting and promoting some business courses மாதிரி வந்து நீங்க வந்து மில்லியன் ஆகலாம் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணுறீங்க. ஸோ இப்போ என்னென்ன வழி இருக்கு, எப்படி சம்பாதிக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறத சொல்லிட்டு இதில் நீங்க எப்படி சம்பாதிக்கலாம், வாட் ஆர் யூ குட் அட், ஏன்னா இதுல ஃபிட்னஸ் பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் நீங்க பாத்தீங்க ஃபிட்னஸ் ஆஃப் பிசினஸ் லைஃப் இன் ஜெனரல் எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் ஸ்கில் பேஸ்ட். எதுவுமே வந்து இங்க டேலண்ட் ஓகே சம் பீப்புள் மே பி டேலண்டட் சம்திங் சம் பீப்புள் மே பி டேலண்டட் சம்திங் எல்ஸ். ஆனா இங்க மோஸ்டா கம்யூனிகேஷனா இருக்கட்டும் மார்க்கெட்டிங்கா இருக்கட்டும் யூ ஹேவ் டு ட்ரை யூ ஹேவ் டு ஃபெயில் until you succeed. இது பண்ண போனா as fail better. Try to do better. இது பண்ண போனா you learn everything. Let it be even in bodybuilding, muscle building இருக்கட்டும் ஒரு ஃபிட்னஸ் ஸ்கில்லா இருக்கட்டும் ஒரு சேல்ஸ் ஸ்கில்லா இருக்கட்டும் மார்க்கெட்டிங் ஸ்கில்லா இருக்கட்டும் even with clients. ஆமா the more you practice the more you get better. This is not like music for you. I don't know about other forms. So some people will be talented at something. But in a talent லாம் தாண்டி when you put in the work, fitness doesn't involve talent. Everyone can become the best version of themselves. I'm not saying they can become the best bodybuilder or something else. Everyone can be fit, everyone can be in the best shape. Everyone can become in the fitness industry usefully, everyone can earn much. ஆனா இங்க என்ன பிரச்சனைன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா எப்படி சீக்கிரம் earn பண்ணலாம் எப்படி மக்கள் ஸ்கேம் பண்ணலாம் அப்படிங்கிற பண்ணி என்ன ஆகுது people are like ஒரு ஷார்ட் டேர்ம் மணி இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் பார்த்து லாங் டேர்ம்ல பேரை எடுத்துக்காங்க. ஏன்னா இன்னைக்கு நீ வந்து ஒரு பொய்யான மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்ற நாளைக்கு அது பொய்ன்னு தெரிஞ்சிடும் ஒருத்தர் வந்து சொல்லுவோம் அப்போ அவங்க பிரச்சனை ஆகும்
ஒருத்தர் வந்து சொல்லுவாங்க. see that's the thing. When I had started out in my so-called fitness journey, my ideology was to not just get involved in other markets, just have my own path. That's it. That was my own ideology. The thing is that it was not like, I was like, I'm going to go and make a change in the industry. With whatever I'm doing right now, I have a strict ideology that I am the industry. Do you get it? If I'm going to do something, I want to do it in a way that would invoke change in generations to come by themselves. So I was going through one of these, I had my own set of boot camps where you can, promote fitness to that same ideology that I started out with, breathing easy. That's it. People who wanted to come, they came. We were able to do a year full of boot camp with the steady set of clients who were able to give beautiful transformations in their own way. And the only change that they made was skipping outside meals to homemade food and making sure that their protein intake was right.
அது பண்ணாலே போதும்.
That's it.
ஆமா
that's it.
இதை விட்டு என்ன பண்றாங்க they are complicating things too much. இங்க என்ன நடக்குது சப்ளிமெண்ட் கம்பெனிஸ் மார்ஜின் வச்சுக்கிறது உங்களுக்கு வந்து they are not telling you exactly to eat properly to sleep properly even if they say that they're implying that the supplement will help you out. Supplement will help you out. சப்ளிமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சப்ளிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஒர்க் நான் இல்லைன்னு சொல்கிறேன். ஆனால் வந்து யாருக்கு என்ன சப்ளிமெண்ட் தேவை அப்படிங்கிற ஃபர்ஸ்ட் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அது இல்லாமல் வந்து ஒருத்தன் ரைட்டாக மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்ணுறான் அப்படிங்கிறத போய் நம்பி தான் இது வந்து தேர் நாட் ஃபேஸிங் எனி சைட் எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் சொல்லணும் பெருசாக இருக்கணும் ஒரு மணி வேஸ்ட் ஒரு டைம் வேஸ்ட். ஸோ இதெல்லாம் வந்து கம்மி பண்ணது அண்ட் இஃப் யூ ப்ரமோட் things as they are. I'm not saying you not to promote supplements. I'm not saying you not to do all those things they're doing. Do it in a way that people who actually need it will be able to take it. Don't promote it to everyone.
Good. See, that's the thing. So, இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு லைன் ஒன்று சொன்னீங்க, that is promote things the way they are. If you promote it to its truest form, it is going to be true. Why are the additional things?
மக்களோட சொன்ன இருக்காங்க அது பேசுறது.
And because of that, industries basically take advantage of us. That's it. My other ideology is, instead of making this place where, the industry is going to change its own standards, teach the people the most normalest of things. What you are doing right now is the normal. What you are doing right now is making sure that people are health conscious. That is the most normal thing that can be. See, the thing is, in so many countries, they have this kind of a structure where the entire community, if I am talking in terms of art, சரிங்களா இங்கே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒருத்தங்களும் வந்து they are having their own needs. I will not categorize anything as right and wrong. ஏன்னா everybody is working for their stomach, everybody is working for the money and the welfare of their family. சரிங்களா so yes, there are people who scam, there are people who go the true way, there are people who fight, everything is there. But everybody is focused on a self-growth factor than the growth of a certain art form or a growth of a country or a growth of a community or a nation.
It has to be there, bro. ஏன்னா வந்து நீ வளர்ந்தா தான் வந்து உன்னால ஒரு ஆர்ட் ஃபார்மையோ ஒரு இது வளர்க்க முடியும். First அது இருந்தாலும். And the other thing is you're saying that people are focused on their own growth or you're saying you're okay with all these people scamming and சொல்லுங்க. இப்போ ஒருத்தன் வந்து ஈஸியா வந்து ஒரு விஷயத்த பண்ணி காசு பார்த்துறான். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சே ஹி இஸ் a robber. திருடி வந்து அவன் காசு பார்த்துறான். He is not facing any consequences. அப்படின்னு இருக்கிறப்போ he will get better at stealing. Which is a wrong thing to do. மொத்த லைஃப் நீ பாதிக்கிற.
True.
Scammers are more or less the same thing. ஓகேங்களா? And you forget that you have to actually earn in a proper way. உழைச்சு சம்பாதிக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறத நீங்க மறந்துட்டீங்க. அதான் என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க, திருடுறதே வந்து இந்த கொஞ்சம் அதிகமாக பண்ணி என்ன ஆகும், ஒரு நாள் மாட்டுவீங்க. மாற்றமும் அடுத்து நிற்கிறப்போ யூ வாண்ட் ஹேவ் இவன் த பேசிக் திங் டு ஷார்ட் டேர்மாக நீங்கள் சக்ஸஸ் பார்த்துருக்கீங்க, ஈஸியாக பார்த்துருக்கீங்க. யூ வாண்ட் பி ரெடி டு கோ அண்ட் ஒர்க் யுவர் ஆஸ் ஆஃப் டு மேக் மணி. அவ்வளோதான். ஸோ இதனால தான் நான் சொல்கிறேன், ஸ்கேம் பண்ணுறது வந்து ஸ்கேம் ஆகுறவங்க மட்டும் பிரச்சனை கிடையாது, ஸ்கேம் பண்ணுறவங்களுக்கு தான் பிரச்சனை.
That is the thing. So you literally told an entire system of how the country works in a few statements. That is one of the main reasons why I invoke that cause itself. So see that a person who is growing individually for themselves, yes, they are going to project that art form out. But you have also taken the effort that you are trying to create a community of health conscious, not just people, health conscious people in terms of the bodybuilding art. So that when they are doing that bodybuilding, they are doing it the right way and coming on that point.
See, first thing, bodybuilding health, you can never keep it at point 100%. நான் பேச நிறைய டாக்டர்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், பேச நிறைய ஃபிட்னஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷனல்ஸ் அண்ட் சீனியர்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், ஆக்சுவல் நாலேஜபிள் பீப்புள், ஆர் எவ்ரி திங் தே ப்ரீச்சஸ் ஹார்ம் ரிடக்ஷன். ஓகே, நீங்கள் சைக்கிள் பண்ணுறீங்க அப்படின்னா ஹவு லாங் ஷுட் டூ அ சைக்கிள், பிகாஸ் பீப்புள் கெட் ஈஸி அடிக்ட் டு ஸ்டெராய்ட்ஸ். நீங்கள் கெமிக்கலாக என்ஹான்ஸ் பண்ணி உடம்பு பார்த்துட்டீங்க அப்படின்றப்போ நேச்சுரலாக ஃபிசிக் வாண்ட் பி த சேம். You have to get comfortable with the fact that without steroids you're not going to look the same. But it doesn't mean that you won't look good. அவ்வளோதான்.
Beautiful sir.
Even if you like come off steroids, even if you இதுக்கு தான் சொல்றேன், நேச்சுரலாக ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ட்ரெயின் பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னா 2-3 years எடுத்து ட்ரெயின் பண்ணி அட்லீஸ்ட் பில்ட் பேசிக் குட் ஃபிசிக். அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன ஆகுறீங்கன்னா டோன்ட் டிபெண்ட் ஆன் ட்ரக்ஸ் லைஃப் லாங். ஏன்னா இட்ஸ் லைக் இட்ஸ் அ ட்ரக் அட் தி எண்ட் ஆஃப் தி டே. இட் மேக்ஸ் யூ ஃபீல் லைக் அ சூப்பர் ஹியூமன். ஓகேங்களா? இப்போ எனக்கே நான் சொல்றேன், எனக்கே கஷ்டமாக தான் இருக்கு. நான் மெடிசன்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு வந்து லாஸ்ட் இயர் ஃபுல்லாக நான் பிரேக்கில் தான் இருந்தேன். நான் மெடிசன்ஸே யூஸ் பண்ணேன். ஒரே ஒரு 2 மாசம் மட்டும் நான் அது உடம்பு சரியில்லை சொல்லிட்டு அப்போ கொஞ்சம் கோப் பண்ணிக்க யூஸ் பண்ணேன். தப்பு. ஓகே, ஸோ அது 2 months யூஸ் பண்ணதுக்கப்புறம் அகைன் ஆஸ் லைக் எதுக்கு நான் வார்த்தை மீற சொல்லிட்டு பிரேக் பண்ணேன். மீறியாச்சு இருந்தாலும் அது 1 year நான் சொல்லிட்டு பிரேக் விட்டேன். பட் த வே ஐ ஃபெல்ட், I have already seen a superhuman form of me by taking chemical enhancements. அதை விட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் I didn't come back to being my normal self. I went below normal. So அதை டேலி பண்றதுக்கு it took a lot of time. It took a lot of acceptance, letting go of the ego that I am not the same person who I was. I am not the same person without being chemically enhanced. விட்டதுக்கு அப்புறமா தான் I was able to like என்ன சொல்றது, it was a very hard time because சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் கெமிக்கலாக நீங்கள் ஒரு விஷயம் பார்த்துறீங்க, சூப்பர் ஃபார்ம் பார்த்துறீங்கன்னா you're going to come back to a normal human being. Normal human being, how can you be a better version of yourself? அதுக்கு நீங்கள் ட்ரெயின் பண்ணலாம், டயட் பண்ணலாம், அதுக்கு நீங்கள் கஷ்டப்படுறோம். அவ்வளோதான். Forget the fact that you were chemically enhanced, forget the fact that you were so misleading டெவலப் பண்ணலாம், மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் டெவலப் பண்ணலாம்னா you can't forget it. But accept the fact that it's in the past. You don't need it anymore. திருப்பி ஸ்டேஜ் ஏற போகுது அப்படின்னா you don't need to be chemically enhanced anymore. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு கரண்ட் இருக்கிற ஹார்மோன் லெவல்ஸ் வச்சு how can you be the best version of yourself? அவ்வளோதான். Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself with the past person who was chemically enhanced. அவ்வளோதான். Which is very, very, very difficult.
See, that's one of the other beautiful reasons I love invoking questions from you, because these answers that you give are raw and unfiltered. It brings, because it comes to the entire psychology of one line, one word called acceptance. Acceptance is everything. This is how it is. This is how my situation is. This is how my body is going to be. This is how I can function. This is how much I can flourish. If people are coming into acceptance of that fact itself, so many, this so-called insecurities will start shedding off.
See, insecurity, to be honest, insecurity is essential for certain people. But I am very much driven by insecurity. Say, for example, I don't consider myself talented at many things. If someone takes 10 days to learn something, it might take 20 days for me. But in insecurity, I have to be better, I have to be better than this, I have to be better than. I don't give up. I still keep trying, I still try to get better. And the insecurities and if I'm not feeling that, if I'm feeling I'm good enough, why do I have to try to be better? And your acceptance on there.
True.
Acceptance is needed, but don't be like, have gratitude for who you are, have gratitude for things that you've done. But don't stop over that. Try to be better. Try to do something else. If you can do something else.
Yes.
Insecurity it gets to a certain point of life when you start putting up now, maybe you're not good at everything. Maybe you're not the best at everything. You see someone who's better than you. Don't try to hate on that person. Instead, try to think that you can do better. You can become like him.
True.
அவன் பண்ணா நம்மளாலே பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ அந்த ஒரு ஃபேக்டரே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஐ கன்சிடர் தட் அஸ் ஒரு certain insecurity தான் அது. Have an insecurity that drives you, not something that destroys you. And have an acceptance where you feel gratitude, not where you feel settled.
True. This is actually a very beautiful perspective on insecurity. The thing is, when I said, you know, some many layers of insecurity will get shed, I believe in the form of the superego, where it, you know, lashes out, but rather used as a driven force. But the thing is that I believe in balance of emotions. Attaining balance of emotions is going to be a really, really tough thing, but it is practice. All emotions, if you have the gratitude, have that acceptance, is all practice. You had gone through that journey to come to this point where you can actually tell that you preached all this and you practiced it, and that's why you're here. So, in the Mari things is something that I call as emotional education. This emotional education lacks in all fields, according to me, because you're using a certain weakness as a driving factor. You know that you are not going to beat yourself up, but you have yourself in that place where there is this certain level of stress that pushes you forward than push you down. That's a very, very, you know, crazy place to be in.
See, stress அப்படிங்கிறது நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி let's assume that you're doing squats. Simple example.
Right.
A weight is pushing you down.
Right.
Stress இருக்கிறதுனால you're going to push, you're going to become stronger.
Yeah.
Same way, stress பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா I have a lot of stress now, business related stress. Bodybuilding பண்ணா bodybuilding related stress.
True.
When you get to a certain point, bodybuilding மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட் நீங்க பண்றீங்க, ஒரு what do you call it, ஒரு ரொம்ப ரிஸ்கான ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணுங்க, மிக்ஸ் மார்ஷல் ஆர்ட்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை வந்து ஒரு பைக் ரேசராக இருக்கணும் சில பேர், அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் நீங்கள் பண்ணுறப்போ யூ பிகம் அடிக்டட் டு த ஸ்ட்ரெஸ். ஓகேங்களா? இஃப் ஐ வாசன்ட் டூயிங் பிஸ்னஸ், இஃப் ஐ வாசன்ட் டூயிங் பாடி பில்டிங், I'll be bored. I get bored, I'll get depressed. I'll be thinking of unnecessary things, என்னென்ன பண்ணி டைம் வேஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம், அந்த மாதிரி தான் போயிட்டு இருப்பேன். தவிர stress is essential for everyone. But don't let the stress consume you. Stress இருக்கிறதுனால தான் you are pushing forward, you are driving forward. Stress-ஐ நீங்க ஹேண்டில் பண்ணிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா you won't feel sad. நீங்க procrastinate பண்ணி தள்ளி போறதுனால ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸும் வளர்ந்துக்கிட்டே தான் போகுது. Let's say even for certain problems. ஒரு சின்ன ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, ஓகேங்களா? மேபி யூ குட் ஹவ் சால்வ் இட். ஆனா அதை procrastinate பண்ணி அதை ஓவர் திங்க் பண்ணி the small problem might appear
it inflates.
ஆமா. Your mind inflates most things which aren't really that big. It is a very hard thing to do actually. Like இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு விஷயம் வந்து you are trying to solve an issue which is, and it seems bigger than it actually is. You have to come to the fact that you have to solve it as soon as possible. அவ்வளவுதான். அது விட்டு தள்ளி போட்டுருந்தா it becomes very big. You become very stressed.
No, sometimes when these kind of voices and thoughts and, you know, procrastination happens, the one thing I tell to my mind is almost like a telescope. Because even the smallest of things will be portrayed in the biggest of, you know, pictures. So when you are giving little blueprints that a psychologist would give in the most rawest sense possible, how were you able to come to this place where you're able to give such structures? Life experience. See, the thing is that people go through a certain phase of life. They say that they are experienced, but are they using those lessons? Are they practicing those lessons? That is the question. You are able to come to this place where you can, you know, practice those lessons, tell that, you know, you felt this and you're giving that information out. Lot of people, to give that information out itself, have an ego.
Why?
எதுக்கு
நீங்க ஒரு விஷயம் பண்றீங்க அப்படின்னா why can't others do it? Why don't you be the beacon? Because you've been through a suffering. அந்த suffering இன்னொருத்தன் இருக்கு, you can help him come out of it. Not even necessarily help him, கை பிடிச்சிருக்கிற நம்மளாம் சொல்றாரு. If you can provide him a certain advice, say ஒரு ஆன்லைன்ல ஒரு வீடியோ ஒன்று எடுத்து போடுறீங்க அப்படின்னா அதுலேயுமே ஈகோ இருக்கு. Why do you have an ego in helping people? அவ்வளவுதான்.
See, that's the thing. Because here
நம்ம காசு பணம் கொடுத்து கத்துக்கல, அடிப்படை தான் கற்றுக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். I'm teaching bodybuilding, I'm charging money அப்படின்னா I've spent money, I've spent time, I've spent my life experience learning all that. So I charge money for teaching that. Of course it has to be done with money. ஏன்னா அந்த ஃப்ரீயாக விஷயம் கொடுக்கணும்னா அது வேல்யூ இருக்காது. That's the first thing I believe in. Second thing, இந்த மாதிரி சில லைஃப்பில் நீங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ண விஷயம் அதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் வெளியே சொல்கிறதுக்கு you have to be ready to let it not even help people. You have to be ready to put the information outside. அவ்வளோதான்.
Perfect.
எதுக்கு ஈகோ இருக்கு எனக்கு புரியல. யாருக்கு
No, there are so many people who just don't tell about their journey in life. They just give an overall picture that this is that. இவ்வளோ நான் பண்ணிட்டேன், நான் வந்து Look at me, man. I'm being like, that's how I have seen. Maybe things are different now, I don't know. But even through this side, it comes to this point where, when you are putting such seeds out, it turns into different trees. And this is the kind of community building that you're doing in terms of the art of bodybuilding, which is something that I appreciate a lot. Because art of bodybuilding is something that nobody even actually comes and puts a title to. Sport, it's a sport, it's a something that you should do. Bodybuilding is a lifestyle,
If you ask me, it's not even a sport, it's a beauty pageant. To be honest. அவ்வளோ சிம்பிள் தான் பிகாஸ் டு கால் பாடி பில்டிங் அ ஸ்போர்ட் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் திங் இஸ் யூஆர் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் கிவிங் யுவர் லைஃப் டு இட் காசு பணம் ஃபேமிலி ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ஸ் எல்லாத்தையும் நீங்கள் போட்டு தான் நீங்கள் பண்ணுறீங்க ஸோ நாட் கிவிங் எனிதிங் பேக் டு யூ அண்ட் யூஆர் நாட் கோயிங் இட்ஸ் யூ டோன்ட் ஹேவ் அ டெஃபினேட்டிவ் காம்படிஷன் யூஆர் கோயிங் டு போஸ் அவர் தேர் ஓகே போசிங் கொஞ்சம் விஷயம் இருக்கு பட் இட்ஸ் நாட் ஒரு 100 மீட்டர் ரேஸ் மாதிரி கிடையாது last minute நீங்கள் ஸ்லிப் ஆகி there is a possibility that you don't post properly but if you're on stage, if you're doing everything right, if everyone does everything right, that is a clear winner. What about running? What about other sports, for example, team sports are around? What about the individual sports? Exactly. So it's not I wouldn't call it exactly a sport. You're doing everything the way an athlete does and you're presenting yourself as a beauty patient. So there is art also involved. If you ask me what இப்போ என்ன சொல்றது போசிங்ல ஒரு ஆர்ட் இருக்கு பிரசன்டேஷன் ஆர்ட் இருக்கு அவ்வளோ ஆர்ட் ஃபார்ம் இருக்குது ஸோ இது ஸ்போர்ட்டா மட்டும் கன்சிடர் பண்ணாம there's also a form of art in this. That's what makes bodybuilding very beautiful.
To me yes I love the kind of art forms that get associated with this, the art form of resilience, the art form of patience, the art form of posing, the art form of looking good in general. So those things are something that has very recently intrigued me in the field of bodybuilding. It's not like I have vast knowledge of it, but it's really, really fascinating to see athletes sit and work each and every individual muscle fiber to that point where it is coming out in such a way that it is being portrayed as one big muscular physique. That is very fascinating to me because to have that kind of a sense and that kind of a psyche takes dimensions of mental fortitude. People are not able to understand this level of effort, not even the government. How was your journey throughout this point till this point of bodybuilding? How was your support structure?
Support. See, first I used to think வீட்டில் support பண்ணல தான் I used to think யாருமே support பண்ணல. Then I got to a point where I realized நம்மளுக்கு முந்தைய ஜெனரேஷன் நம்ம அப்பா அம்மா ஜெனரேஷன் ஆகணும் they didn't know any other income source outside of bank வேலை இன்ஜினியர் வேலை டாக்டர் வேலை அதை தாண்டி ஒரு இன்கம் சோர்ஸ் தெரியாது ஸோ எனக்கு அவங்க சப்போர்ட் பண்ண நான் நினச்சது கூட they did because they wanted me to be safe, they want me to be secure. See, இப்போ உங்களுக்கு ஃப்ரெண்டாகவே இருக்கட்டும் ஒரு anyone you know your brother or someone he is going to try something out of the box. இது வந்து அங்கே ஒரு ஸ்கோப்பே இல்லைங்கிறது உங்களுக்கு தெரியல அப்படின்னா you're not going to support it. ஸோ இந்த சேம் வே பாடி பில்டிங்கில் நான் ஜெயிச்சு காமிச்சு வைக்கணும் நான் ஏர்ன் பண்ணி காமிச்சிருக்கேன் என் வீட்லையும் எனக்கு வந்து பெருசாக சப்போர்ட் கொடுக்கல பட் தே சப்போர்ட் மீ இன் டர்ம்ஸ் ஆஃப் சாப்பாடு பண்ணி கொடுத்துருக்கோம். That is more than enough.
That's more than enough.
See, supportங்கிற விஷயம் இப்போ வந்து வீட்டில் வந்து அவ்வளோ காசு கொடுப்பாங்க. I started earning at a very young age. 17 வயசுல சம்பாதிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டேன்.
The DIY.
போட்ஸ் ஒர்க் பண்ண வச்சேன், மார்ஷல் ஆர்ட்ஸ் கிளாஸ் எடுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சேன். அந்த மாதிரி I was working small jobs. அதை வச்சு தான் I was able to like afford the chicken சாப்பிட்றதா இருக்கும், வே ப்ரோட்டீன் சாப்பிட்றதா இருக்கும். Then got to a point where I started taking steroids when I was 20. அதுக்கு வந்து I needed twice and thrice the amount of money. ஸோ அதுக்கு நான் என்ன பண்ணேன் போன்ஸ் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் போக ஆரம்பிச்சேன். எல்லாமே பண்ணி I started earning only because there was a demand in money. காசு வேணும் அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும் உழைக்கணும் அதனால I started earning. And as I started earning more and more I started to figure out how everything works. How do I earn more in less time? இதெல்லாம் figure out பண்ணி PT என்னென்ன maximize பண்ண I have to go and learn this course படிச்சா எனக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் knowledge இருக்கும் I'll be able to handle better clients அதெல்லாம் பண்ணி the course wasn't enough. என்ன டெவலப் பண்ணிக்கணும் எவ்வளோ நாலேஜ் இருந்தால் கூட you have to have communication skills. You have to be at the right time, you have to be around the right people. And you have to be able to like என்ன சொல்றது provide proper ஒரு என்ன சொல்றது ஒரு comfort zone to people. More than results, how comfortable you are keeping a person. Are they excited to see you every day? This is what makes a person famous.
Thereby the psychological factor also comes in where you're being a psychologist to the person.
Exactly.
You have all of these things. You have all of these things. That's my God.
But you have to have a certain mental fortitude because நம்ம பேசுற most people are let be in friends or even random people they come and vent out to you. நீ சந்தோஷமா இருந்தா கூட உன்னை டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணிட்டு So, and we are not a paid therapist to listen to all
dude, I know, sir. No,
but we can't tell
nowadays.
them to shut up. ஏன்னா ஒருத்தன் வந்து ஒருத்தவங்க men or women they are coming and expressing their feeling to them, they feel a certain comfort zone.
Comfort zone.
ஆமா நம்ம அதை வந்து we can't like just tell them to stop சொல்லாதீங்க அதெல்லாம் வேணாம். You aren't supposed to say all that. என்ன பிரச்சனை பாத்தீங்கன்னா don't try to tell them அவன் கணக்கு நான் தான் பாத்துக்கிறேன். இதெல்லாம் தான் பிரச்சனை ஆகுது.
So that's the thing. If a person is venting, they're venting because they just need a ear. They don't need a solution most of the time, okay?
And they don't need you to be a solution.
You to be the solution. Isn't this like, one of the things that can be addressed in relationships as well? Giving the space and actually letting the person just talk it out rather than, being, I will be the solution.
Because men, honestly, even I myself try to do it. Because it's different when someone else is coming and venting to you. If your partner or your girlfriend is coming and venting to you, you try to be the solution. You try to give her the solution. And now, most of the time, men lack in certain things, women lack in certain things, we try to complement each other.
Equalize it.
Try if the women has a certain problem over some issues, we will see if we can help her fix that issue. Okay, but if the women has too much ego, like I don't want to fix it, we have to learn to stay silent.
We have to learn to accept. Dude, see, in this entire conversation that we have been having so far, this is like one of the most human sides that I have seen of you. Yeah, because you're talking about the support system, right? You're talking about this place where, you earned at a very young age. What made you get into do it yourself?
I had a compulsion. When cost compulsion.
So you basically came to that mindset that you are the opportunity and you are the industry.
See, because bodybuilding பண்ணவங்க என்னோட ஆசை என்னோட கனவு. அத நான் வந்து அப்பா அம்மா வந்து காசு கொடுக்கணும், அப்பா அம்மா இது பண்ணணும் அதுன்னு சொல்லி நான் எதிர்பார்த்துட்டே இருந்தேன்னா they weren't ready to support. But I wouldn't say they were exactly support பண்ணல. They were very much supportive in certain language. But they didn't want அவங்க அப்பா அம்மா பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பார்த்தா சப்ளிமெண்ட்டே வந்து ஒரு பாய்சன் மாதிரி தான். இதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து அவங்க முடிஞ்சளவு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிட்டோம். மீதி வந்து இது என்னோட ஆசை என்னோட கனவு நான் தான் சம்பாதிச்சாங்க. ஸோ அதுக்காக தான் நான் ட்ரை பண்ணேன். அண்ட் அந்த சின்ன வயசுலயே ஆக்சுவலி பப்புக்கு உள்ள போனா வாட் இஸ் த லீகல் ஏஜ் 18 or 21 17 வயசுல உள்ள போறோம்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் didn't know I was 17. அங்க போய் நான் பார்த்த விஷயம் வந்து லைக் imagine you're fresh out of school, going into all these pubs and places which you have seen which happen to be very fancy. I was still on the first time I went to a pub. சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் 17 வயசுல போனேன் நானு. அண்டர்ஏஜ் தான்.
That's okay. It's all right.
என்னாச்சு நம்மளுக்கு அப்போ ஒரு பெரிய எக்ஸைட்மெண்ட். சரி ஓகே பார்ட்டிலாம் போட பார்ப்போம். நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து பவுன்சர் எல்லாம் போடுவாங்க. தெரிஞ்ச 2 பிஜி இருந்தாங்க, அவங்க தான் சேர்த்து விட்டாங்க. சரி ஓகே பார்ட்டிக்கெலாம் போகிறோம் பெரிய ஆள் போனோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு போனேன். போய் பார்த்தா தெரியுது என்ட்ரி ஃபீஸ் அப்போயே 2014 அந்த டைமில் அப்போயே வந்து 700 ரூபா இருந்துச்சு என்ட்ரி. இப்போலாம் 1700 ரூபா இருக்கும். போய் நிற்கிறான் 700 ரூபா. 700 ரூபா விட்டு அவர் காசு இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பார்த்துருந்தா சுற்றி பார்த்தா வந்து எங்கள் ஸ்கூல் சீனியர் ஒருத்தவங்க அக்கா விட்டு போக பிடிச்சி கம்ப்ளைண்ட் ரிப்போர்ட் உள்ள போயிட்டு பார்த்தா ஐ மீன் she was taking care of me properly. Senior junior பாத்தீங்கன்னா பார்த்தாங்க. But things I was exposed to was very weird. ஆமா. ஸோ அவங்க அப்படி போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் ஒரு சின்ன வயசுல கியூரியாசிட்டி இருக்கும் தெரியுமா? லைக் இது எப்படி இருக்கும், வேற என்னென்ன இருக்கு சொன்ன மாதிரி தான். இப்போ ஒரு விஷயத்த மூடி மறைச்சு வச்சா வந்து நமக்கு திறந்து பார்க்கணும் தான் தோணும். திறந்து இதான் இருக்கு பார்த்துக்கோ அப்படின்னா we might or might not be excited about it. ஆனால் இதான் இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சிடும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி சின்ன வயசுல போயிட்டேன். And when I joined as a bouncer there, the things I saw was much more weird.
I hear you, Mom. I hear you.
So in the false allegation, போறவங்க பசங்க வந்து வைக்கிறதா இருக்கட்டும். And you see all these very rich guys and they do all these creepy things. அவங்க என்ன சொல்றது, பெருசா ரோல்ஸ் ராய்ஸ் வந்து இறங்குவாங்க. அதெல்லாம் வந்து சில தரமா. It showed me that money doesn't give you class. Other thing. True. And the first thing is nothing beats a group of men being friends. ஏன்னா நான் பார்த்த பப்ஜியே சரி இருக்கட்டும், if you see certain men who are alone, they try to do something to women, they try to pick a fight, things might happen. But if you see a group of friends, they're always a camaraderie. ஒருத்தர் இன்னொருத்தர் பார்த்தோமா ஹேங் ஓவர் போன மாதிரி ஆனால் கூட they're there for each other. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் பார்க்குறப்போ I started missing my friends.
Oh, okay.
சரி நம்ம பசங்களோட கூட்டம்லாம் போனா it was the same thing. So பப்புக்கு நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் போனப்போ I didn't have very good experience. But when I went with my friends, பப்புல எந்த இடத்துக்கு போனாலும் you always have a good experience when you are with your circle. அவ்வளவுதான். So it made me appreciate my friends even more.
Oh yeah. See, these are the things that I think as not just an athlete, but also as an upcoming entrepreneur and every kind of mentor that you are, people should get to see because at the end of the day, we are all human. You had your own instances of incidents where you could have chosen a path, but you chose to humble yourself. Okay, you chose to make sure that these are certain incidents that I have experienced. These are things I am uncomfortable with that. A lot of people, all they do is they go with the flow. They become the sheep. Okay, this is what it is. I am a bouncer now, so this is what it is.
See, martial arts humbles you. Simple. Because
the way of life.
Way of life, சொன்ன மாதிரி the other thing is you're not the best always and you're the same as everyone else. இப்போ people see influencers, அவங்களோட பெரிய ஆள் ஆச்சு, there's a gap between influencer சரி ஓகே பெரிய ஆள், நான் ஃபாலோவர் நான் சின்ன ஆள், they are the same person. நீங்க போற அதே கடைக்கு தான் போறாங்க, நீங்க போற அதே ஜிம்முக்கு தான் போறாங்க, குத்துனா ரத்தம் வரும், அதே ரத்தம் தான் வரும்,
அதே செடி தான்.
அப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ ஓகே if you see an influencer who's actually a business owner ஏதாவது பண்ணிட்டான் அப்படின்னா okay that's fine, he might be in a different league than you are, but only based on followers இவன் பெரிய ஆள் நினைக்கிறது அவன் பெரிய ஆள் நினைக்கிறது எல்லாருமே ஒன்று தான் அந்த end of the day. So அப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ why do certain people have this God complex? I'm better than everyone. அந்த மாதிரிலாம் எதுக்கு அந்த காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு first thing தெரியல.
God complex again is a form of insecurity that hurts. It's not an insecurity that's a drive, but it's an insecurity that hurts. I don't know why people would want to choose hurt. I understand that people are addicted to pain, but then there are also people who are addicted to sadism. So
where does this pain and sadism stem from? It might be from various things. But why don't they choose to let go?
Why don't they choose to let go? இப்போ வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா I don't think all of us have been actually emotionally educated as to what letting go is. We have not been given certain awareness and priorities and understanding that stems from the parental system, from the house itself, I would say. A lot of insecurities stems from the home. The questioning, the comparison and everything. When you are at your most rawest self, rather than introducing you to different forms of art, encouraging your art, understanding your art, because in this case also we cannot blame the parents. We cannot.
They did their best.
They did their best. That is their system. That is their system. But you sitting and harnessing yourself, you coming into this place where you can actually experiment things, experience things. I don't think right now I would say even India is not in that place yet, because of one thing is excessive population and another thing is, I won't say broken system, but I will say corrupted system. A corrupted system, it starts from the school, it starts with education, it starts with ideologies. People are not able to handle something that is very basic and that is a no. They find it very hard.
People are not ready to even open their eyes on certain things. They're being programmed to see something, they're being programmed that this is this sort of education system. How many education system you bought on the. Let me give you an example. This might be even like my own ego speaking.
No.
In class on the first time, வாங்கின பையன் இருக்கேன். நான் வந்து borderல just pass பண்ண ஒரு பையன். அவன் CA படிக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு போனான், நான் அட்மிஷன் படிக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு போனான். The most high scoring student in my class doesn't earn half as much. So education is just one part. Education is very important. I'm not saying it's not important, but education is not everything. You need sports. Sports will humble you. Some kind of sports you have to play. Sport will carry you. Sport தாண்டி you have to learn other skills. Communication social skills. I'm a hard introvert. உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும். But still நான் இன்ட்ரோவர்ட்டாவே இருந்தேன். நான் யாருக்குமே பேசல அப்படின்னா where would I be in life? Because if business is dependent on other people. அப்படி இருக்கும்போது நான் closed, நான் யார்கிட்ட பேச மாட்டேன். I still என்ன சொல்றது? Even though I'm even far more introverted. But இது எப்படின்னா I have to step outside my comfort zone. I have to talk to some people. பண்ணாதான் நான் ஒரு கூட போறேன். அப்படி இல்ல நான் க்ளோஸ்ல தான் இருக்கேன், ரிசர்வ்ல தான் இருக்கேன்னா be reserved. But for a time don't be there. Don't be someone who you're not. But try to be a version of yourself which is going to help you.
Oh my god. See that there are so many steps that as far as I have heard, there are so many steps that you have taken in life with a certain strict ideology, strict principle and everything. and people came and formed your way. People came along your path, and they are able to support such ideologies, they are able to support such thinking and even express it. I think your friend Saranan also is with you, right? So to see people coming together in a certain ideology itself is a magic.
See, he is with me since I was 16.
Wow.
Same the bones are all.
Damn.
And over point, he went a certain path, he collected his level. Or information on now over Pokemon information. After a journey of 10 years, we came together, put everything together. Massive.
This is what is called a community. This is what is called, creating a seed, having that intention and going over. For me, it has taken me more than 10 years to actually see the people that my mind would be comfortable being around and expressing things. I generally do express a lot of things, but I was also in my own state of dilemma to understand what is art and everything of that sort. But now, I can understand the fact that it is all around us. It's about how we harness which branch and harnessing it with intention. இப்போ வந்து இந்த மாதிரி திங்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ I was intending to have this kind of a conversation with the person, a proper conversation regarding the fitness field, regarding what bodybuilding is, because I wanted that knowledge. I wanted to have that knowledge, and my knowledge starts from being emotionally present. Being emotionally present வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a kind of love knowledge, love language that you are going to give to the growth of yourself.
Simple தான். இப்போ நீங்க சொன்னது emotional
awareness, availability, present.
We call this as white belt mentoring in martial arts.
Oh.
எப்படின்னா வந்து before I joined mixed martial arts, mixed martial arts, I was doing martial arts for over 18 years. அப்படி பண்ணப்போ if I went in with the mentality like நான் already like fix பண்ணிருக்கேன், punches பண்ணிருக்கேன் அப்படின்ற mentality போனா I'll not be able to absorb what he's teaching me. So I had to forget everything that I forget கூட இல்லை, keep it aside. Go in as a zero. If you know something, go in as a zero. Let them fill you up. But you have to be able to filter what is necessary, what is unnecessary. இப்போ ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கொடுக்குறேன் அப்படின்னா don't just absorb and believe everything is right. Take your information, process, think, research. You just want to you will know what to take in account.
Here's another, the thing is that I am able to resonate a lot with a lot of things that you're saying. There are some places where I try to find arguments, but that is not me in the case, because these cases and scenarios, everything that you're saying is being very resonant with what I think, especially the white belt mentality. The thing is that your journey has been different. The same thing with myself as well. But when we put a collective together, we are able to find comparisons. Comparisons in a way that is again going to help something grow. If it's not like, these words are just words right now, but something in one place, in another person, when they are hearing it like 6 to 7 years down the line, they will also understand that industries have been like this. Professionals have been like this as well. Ideologies have been like this as well. Why do we have to go into one so-called sheep mentality of things? Because the things that we have talked about again is the purest normal. Having the most humble nature, through whichever art form that you learn, making sure that you learn skills and art forms. Because in the இடத்துல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா the system actually does not teach you or give you the space for skills. அதிலே வந்து discrimination வந்துரும். They will be like, for example, let's say there is a speech competition or a narrator competition or anything of such, recitation like that, culturals. They would only call the people who are like, functioning high up in the class. And the rest of the other people, what are they? Why do we have to have that kind of discrimination? You are basically, what you are doing right now is, as a teacher, you are being paid, you are doing your job and you are going back home. I understand that part. You are earning, I understand that. Other Tandi, you can find very, very few teachers who actually invest in all of the students.
Of course, I had such issue.
Would you mind sharing that experience?
No, I had a maths teacher.
Damn, okay.
And I was the worst at math.
Fast, okay.
எப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 12th வந்து குவார்டர் எக்ஸாம் வந்து 4 மார்க் வாங்கினேன். ஓகேங்களா? She was like half yearly exam 4 மார்க் வாங்கினேன். என் பேப்பர் மட்டும் பார்த்தா கிளாஸ்லேயே வந்து இருக்கிறது கம்மி மார்க். கூப்பிட்டு வச்சு கேட்டாங்க, ஆனால் 4 மார்க்லாம் வாங்கியிருக்கேன், படிக்கவே முடியாதுன்னு கேட்டாங்க. நல்லா மேம் நான் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், குவார்டர் 2 மார்க் தான் வாங்கினேன், 4 மார்க் வாங்கினாங்க. How mad is he supposed to be at me? And ஸ்கூல் முடிஞ்சதுக்கப்புறம் மேக்ஸுக்கு மட்டும் கோச்சிங் கிளாஸ் வைப்பாங்க from 3 to 4:30 or something. நான் என்ன பண்ணுவேன், மேக்ஸ் அந்த கோச்சிங் கிளாஸ்லாம் கரெக்டாக ஜிம்முக்கு போயிடுவேன். ஜிம்முக்கு கரெக்டாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மேக்ஸுக்கு பக்கத்து வீட்டுக்கு பக்கத்து One day she saw me, she called me. I thought she was going to scold me. Parents தான் கூப்பிடுவாங்க அவ்வளோ பிஸி நான் நினச்சேன். She called me and she told me that உனக்கு வந்து இந்த இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருக்கு, நீ வந்து ஜிம் பண்ற, ஐ வெரி மச் அப்ரிஷியேட் தட். பட் யூ ஹேவ் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஒரு பேசிக் எஜுகேஷன் உங்களுக்கு கண்டிப்பாக தேவை. ஏன்னா உன்னோட இது வந்து ஐ டோல்ட் ஆல் தீஸ் எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ். தோனி வந்து படிக்கல, சச்சின் படிக்கல, அந்த டைம்ல பட் ஷீ டோல்ட் மீ a very important thing. Dhoni, Sachin, நீங்க பாக்குறீங்க, they are people who succeeded. What about the people just like them who never succeeded? You don't hear about them. Don't become such a failure. You need a basic education. உங்களுக்கு ஒரு பேசிக் எஜுகேஷன் தான் யூ ஹேவ் a safe future. சப்போஸ் நீ நினைக்கிற விஷயம் காட் ஃபர்பிட் அது வந்து நடக்கலனா கூட யூ ஹேவ் சம்திங் டு லேர்ன். சொல்லி ஹாஃப் இயர்ல இருந்து ஆனுவலுக்கு வந்து 3 மாசம் தான். she helped me a lot with education. அப்படி பண்ணி I still am in contact with her. I'm still grateful to her. So இந்த மாதிரி she never told me like stop going to gym. கோச்சிங் கிளாஸ் வரணும்னா வந்து ஜிம்முக்கு போ, அதை வேணும்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். பட் sit and study for at least some time.
Make sure that you have basic knowledge.
Exactly. இந்த மாதிரி டீச்சர்ஸ் வந்து எனக்கு இருந்திருக்காங்க. I feel very grateful for that. See, if she was someone who told me that நீ வந்து ஜிம்முக்கு போற தப்பு, கட்டர்ஸ் கோச்சிங் கிளாஸ் வரணும்னா நான் ஜிம் ஒழுங்கா பண்ணிக்க மாட்டேன். மேக்ஸ் நான் கடைசிக்கும் பாஸ் பண்ணிருப்பேன். So teachers are really important to you because இப்போ அதுவும் இந்த ஜெனரேஷன்ல most parents are not at home. ரெண்டு பேருமே working. Both of them are taxpayers. அந்த கான்வர்சேஷன் எல்லாம் போவாங்க.
Please.
You have to at least ஒரு வீட்ல ஒரு பேரண்ட் இருந்தா தான் குழந்தை ஒழுங்கா இருக்கும். These are தாண்டிலோ. பேரண்ட் தாண்டி with whom do children spend most of the time? Teachers. So teachers வந்து just like gym trainers, you have to be emotionally available for the client. You are responsible for their health. அதெல்லாம் தாண்டி a teacher is very important for child's growth and child's mentality. Comparison can be there. Healthy comparison இருக்கலாம். அவன் வாங்கிட்டா நீ வாங்கல. அந்த மாதிரி comparison இருக்கலாம். It should not be like அவன் வாங்கிட்டா அவன் பெஸ்ட், நீ வாங்கல பாரு நீ வேஸ்ட். அதுவும் as a child நானே ஃபேஸ் பண்ணிருக்கேன். You have a lot of times where you feel like you're inadequate. Inadequacy நம்மளுக்கு இருக்க we form this own insecurity. நம்ம யாருமே கேட்டாம டிஸ்கண்ட் அந்த மாதிரி என்ன பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it carry forward to the adulthood. அப்படி இருக்கப்போ you find people who are socially awkward.
Yes, no, this is a very beautiful example of what is called the comfortable hell. So basically, your nervous system and your entire structure gets adapted to one certain environment when you're a child. Let's say it's going to be a hard and abusive environment with certain words and ideologies. Your body will be used to that stress and you'll think that it is home. So when you grow up, your schooling system also will try to find that kind of home. And then your tuition system will find that home. And it grows up into the schooling and friends. And so this is one of these systems.
It comes into relationship as well. People think abuse is love.
People think toxicity is love.
Exactly, but how do you define toxicity in a relationship?
How do I define toxicity in a relationship? To me, my perception when it comes to toxicity is when both people are not able to give mutual respect to each other. I believe that. I believe in respect. There have been places where I have failed also. There have been places where I have tried to make amends as well. But the only baseline is respect, beyond anything else.
I totally agree.
Because communication is there. Communication, yes, there might be flaws, there might be misouts, but those are things you can make up to. How will you make up to respect? How will you do that?
Exactly, man. The same thing that I personally believe in. Respect over any emotion. No matter how much you love someone, once the respect is lost, you won't look at that person the same. Let's say, for example, your partner doesn't even necessarily cheat. She tolerates someone who you know that she is trying to hit on her or something. It shows that she is not respecting you clearly. Because if she respects you, she'll know enough to have her boundaries with people. I'm not saying don't talk to him, don't talk
yes,
to him, but she'll have a certain boundary not to allow this guy is close. My partner doesn't respect that. Being in a vision, they know. But when you get to a point that you realize that your partner doesn't have respect for you, or does something which is disrespectful to you, you don't look at it the same way. No matter how much love there is, it won't take even 5 seconds for someone like me to walk away.
No, that's the thing. You can have infinitesimal love, but I believe in certain places, respect and loyalty, they come hand in hand, according to me. See, the thing is that even if there are mistakes that's going to be made, let's say that, there comes this place where, cheating happens, infidelity in that word happens. I believe in the fact that even through that, if we could work on loyalty, respect can be gained back because they worked on loyalty.
How can you work on loyalty after cheating?
That is the thing. That entirely depends on both the people. That depends on how the mind space and the mindset of both the people are. And the understanding from both the ends. It's not going to be a one person thing. It is never going to be a one person
See,
thing.
cheating is never an accident.
Cheating,
Okay, அப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ, what is it trying to say? Say for example, you have, okay, first thing I believe in is self-love.
Self-love. True.
If you don't love yourself, how can I expect other person to love you? And even if they do love you, நீ உனக்கு காமிக்காத love தான் they're giving it to you. You're filling yourself up with their love.
With their love.
Okay, அப்படி இருக்கப்போ that is not there, you'll be empty.
Yes.
So first fill your cup up. Make sure you love yourself. You love the things that you do. அப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ the other external love you get is just a bonus. அது இருக்கோ இல்லையோ, you won't be, maybe you'll be sad, you'll be disappointed for a certain time, but you won't be like அதை depend பண்ணியே இருக்க மாட்டீங்க.
True.
So when you are someone who loves yourself, who respects yourself, has certain standards, has certain lines to draw, if you see someone who's crossing the line, you won't hesitate to let it pass you.
True.
So in the infidelity, cheating, is not something you love. If you have self-respect, if you have your own self-love, you won't tolerate infidelity.
True. Very true. The thing is that when you are having certain set of ideologies and norms that is your perception of what your self-love is, being that present and everything of such, you would know that if your cup is being spilled, it is not a good place. As long as you are able to be aware of the fact that your cup is not being touched in the process, whatever paths that you should choose for your inner peace and self-love is something that you should do. That is very beautifully said.
நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி இந்த என்ன சொல்றது, tolerating all these things. If you ask me about love, love is something I don't need. Love is something I choose to have. அப்படி இருக்கப்போ that state of mindset, எனக்கு தேவையில்லைனா எனக்கு இது வேணும். You won't be like disappointment is not there. You wanted it, you don't have it, it's okay.
Love is an expression of infinity, to be honest. You are going to be in love with many things in your life. When there is this point when there is a certain external validation and an external love that you find comfortable with, you sit in that constant. When the comfortability is missed, you have a communication. You address it, you talk about it. If the reassurance is made, it's fine. If the reassurance is not, then steps have to be taken. Simple as that.
And the other thing about infidelity is, if you have enough self-respect, you won't cheat on your partner. Because love or emotional thandi, I believe it's a commitment.
True.
You've given your word to a person. அப்படி இருக்கப்போ short term pleasure just because you get something better, if you go and break your word out there, you first lose your own self-respect. You won't look at yourself the same way in the mirror. அப்படி இருக்கப்போ how do you expect another person to respect you? How do you expect your partner to respect and take you back? Maybe இப்போ நீங்கள் வந்து cheat பண்ணிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா வந்து அவங்க cheat பண்ண பர்சனும் விட்டு போயிட போகிறாங்க, partneரும் விட்டு போயிட போகிறாங்க, you are going to stand at zero. Why do you want to take that risk?
True. No, but the thing is that not a lot of people are able to have such a discipline. Love is a discipline, right? Love is a form of discipline, where it's not always going to be, all hugs and cuddles and everything. At one point, there is going to be this harsh place which I have to deal with, harsh conversation. Points in it. So all of these things are going to be present. It is about whether you are going to have that place to address all of this, whether you are giving the commitment to address all of this together, and you are giving a commitment that is beyond the human vessel. You are giving a commitment to a spirit. This is in a way a kind of spirituality, right? You are giving a certain commitment to the spirit in this form of love. This is the form of love that I have.
Exactly.
Other than that, it's all a vessel. Other than we are all just goop. When we are 80, 90, all of this, what is going to be there? All of this, we surround ourselves in that shell of ego, and
but it's all about temporary inflation now.
You have very, very beautiful mindsets. The thing is that my objective was to have certain questions that would invoke answers, and you invoked even more questions in which basically led to the same resonant thought. And it's been a really, really long time since I've had a conversation like this.
Of course, man. When you have someone with an open mindset, the conversation is going to be similar.
Yes. Especially with the industry that is different. Right now, I have been dealing with people who are in the industry of fitness overall. Fitness overall, and also people who are into artistic work like painting, media, cinema making, theater, and things like that. But I always wanted to be understanding of the bodybuilding industry from a perspective that wants the bodybuilding industry to grow in a certain way. And consciously or unconsciously, you are doing it in a way that is literally creating an entire new generation. I believe that because one fine day when I was doing, practicing my art form, there was one, a 6, 7 year old child that I came across. He was really proficient in his art form that I believe that kind of understanding even lacks in certain adults. And that person, during a sit down session where we talk, where we exchange ideas, that person is telling, when you are doing the same thing for the next 5 years, a new generation will be born.
Exactly.
And
they are going to be better than you.
They are going to be better than you. That is one of the main essences of this, the Crump art form that I practice. The person who propagated Crump, the person who goes by the name Titus, who spread Crump across the
New
world.
Zealand.
Sorry?
New Zealand art form.
New Zealand, USA.
Okay.
USA. Angalandu propagate our art form. This person in an interview says, I have spent my lifetime in Crump more than anybody in this world. But I'm not afraid to admit the fact that there are artists who are better than me.
Of course, because our seniors have paved the way for us. We are paving the way for the future. We have to make it in a way that they have to be better than us.
Obviously.
There is no ego in thinking that I'm the best in the time, I'm the best. Maybe you're the best at your time. But make sure you spend the time trying to make the future better. If you have the ego, so I have to be the greatest of all time. Mindset, you're not going to be the greatest of all time. Who are the greatest of all time, for example? Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson. Are they called the greatest of all time? It's even Bruce Lee, for example. They are the greatest of all time.
Yes.
But are they being considered the greatest of all time for being the best at their sport or helping others become better? Bruce Lee was the founder of mixed martial arts. ஏன்னா வந்து இப்போ சைனாவில் யூஎஸ்ஏல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வந்து சைனீஸ் பீப்புள் தான் குங்ஃபு ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணோம் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு பாயிண்ட் தான் இருந்தாங்க. ப்ரூஸ் லீ கேம் அண்ட் ப்ரோக் இட். எதுக்கு சைனீஸ் பீப்புள் ஒன்றா சொல்லுறாங்க, எல்லாரும் நான் சொல்லுறேன். Try to stop me. People try to stop me. They couldn't.
How can they?
Bruce Lee put everything together. Enter Dragon opening fight scene பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அங்கே ஒரு கிராப்ளிங் சீக்வன்ஸ் இருக்கும், அங்கே ஒரு ஜிம்னாஸ்டிக் சீக்வன்ஸ் இருக்கும், ஜூடோ இருக்கும், எல்லாமே இருக்கும். How is a person who is only learning kung fu expected to learn all of that? Bruce Lee put everything together. He created mixed martial arts. But இப்போ இந்த டைம்ல mixed martial arts பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there are people who are better than Bruce Lee. Do you think Bruce Lee will be sad or happy?
He will be the most happiest.
He paved the way for all this. He is happy. Muhammad Ali the same way. Black people rights fight பண்ணதா இருக்கும். He put down his own world title. They arrested him. War போக மாட்டேன் arrest பண்ணாங்க. He is being considered the greatest of all time because of the things that he has done for the future.
You literally, again, I always use this statement, but in this conversation, you have evolved my mind so much. No, which is the truth, because this evolution for me that I felt right now is basically mental peace. Mental peace with the fact that, there are people who are artists who are really proficient in their industry right now in this point to come to the point and say that I want the future to be better than me. That takes a lot of guts. It's not an easy thing. Unless and until you achieve a certain state of nirvana in this phase of life, that peace, you wouldn't be able to think that. Then you will see that everything is one huge picture. There's a huge picture in everything that we do. This kind of connects that happen, this kind of, this magic that happens, that always happens for a reason.
See, if you ask me, I'm going to actually ego attach. Let's say, for example, we both exist. Who is going to remember us after 100 years? Who is going to remember Bruce Lee?
Most of them.
Our ego, maybe he didn't do it for that reason. But paving the way for the future, making sure that the people coming after you, generations after you, will be better than you. We will use your knowledge as a base and try to make it better. That has to be something which is going to be.
That is the baseline of evolution, isn't it? It's not just the human body that evolves, the ideology evolves. Obviously, what do you think? E is equal to mc square has not evolved. Obviously, each and every scientific equation has evolved. But the fact of the matter is, people lack the acceptance. People lack the acceptance of the fact that there's a place for evolution. And because of that, if a person is coming and trying to share knowledge or ask knowledge or trying to find a way to attain a knowledge, there's a group of people who just put a barricade and say that I want ego. Wait.
They won't be able to.
This is a huge cycle where we come back to the starting of the conversation, but goddamn good, man. But seriously, Machan, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Holy hell, dude. This is a conversation that I've been waiting to have for so long. Since the time I've seen you in Parkour Pod. From then on, I wanted to have a certain conversation.
I don't have all these conversations with most people. Behind the camera space, but to have this camera,
seriously, dude. I don't care.
So most people don't get this conversations out of me because it's hard to find someone who's open to listen. Agreeing, disagreeing, where I can talk with someone who disagrees with me, but I can't talk with someone who's not ready to listen.
That is the thing. That's a huge difference between hearing and listening. So cool. So you are also switching. Fuck. அது மேலே பேசிருப்போம் ப்ரோ எக்ஸாக்ட்லி 1 hour ப்ரோ வேற மாதிரி